Fog of War. 7. 2214. Privateer ship Karnas. Somewhere in the winter deeps. Hara's ship suit was still wet with blood when the first mate threw her through the captain's door and locked it behind her. "What's this I hear about you rejecting the tender charms of my crew?" Nguyen, he never referred to himself as captain, stretched and rose from his bunk like a cat. He leaned against the desk beside her and folded his fingers under his armpits. Hara laughed and spat blood. This was it. The end of the road. They had it coming. Nguyen nodded in agreement. "Oh, indeed. And thank you very kindly for doling out that justice. You left 2 of the rapists alive. That's a good touch. A cautionary tale I'm not really able to deliver, a tad off-brand for me." She wasn't really sure what he was saying. Was he going to space her for killing 3 of his crew? Nguyen kneeled inches away from her. "Your talents are wasted on a pirate ship," he said, which didn't really clear it up for her. She crawled back against the door. "You come for my talents and see what gets wasted." He laughed, then sat cross-legged on the floor. "No fear, I'm not here for that." He gestured around the opulent captain's quarters. "Nor for this, either." She didn't ask the question he obviously wanted her to, so he sighed dramatically and continued on his own. "All right, here's the short version. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Nguyen. His parents were killed by pirates, and he was sold into slavery. He turned into a nasty piece of work. So nasty, he survived that mine and got himself on the crew of the privateer Karnas. With me so far?" Not sure what else to do, Hara nodded. "No, you're not, because I skipped a bit," he said with a flashy whirl of his hand. "Somewhere in between getting sent to a mine to die and actually dying, little Nguyen and all his friends were saved. Do you know why? Because they were in hell. Luckily, it was a hell run by monsters nobody would come looking for if they all disappeared." Nguyen shrugged. "And I guess, out of all the ways you could practice stealth reconnaissance and recovery, setting a bunch of kids free was likely what got Home Sweet Hell to the top of the target list." Hara was past scared. Nguyen never talked about himself, and what he was saying made no sense. She hadn't felt much in the months since her transport had been attacked, and she'd been forced into service on Karnas. She hadn't felt anything at all since the 5 men cornered her in the galley that day. She'd said a silent goodbye to Jake, who had no idea where she was, and attacked those men with everything she had. Surprisingly, she survived. But what was happening on the floor of Nguyen's quarters scared her more. Nguyen looked away into the distance, idly scratching at his collarbone. "Perhaps I'm just a sucker for an underdog. You impressed me getting out of that galley in one piece." Hara flicked her eyes from Nguyen's face to his hands, expecting unkindness any second. Then her eyes caught a glimpse of a tattoo on his chest revealed as he scratched. A curve of black circle. In any case, he stood abruptly and walked to the far wall, flipping a transparent panel up and punching the red button beneath. "I'm leaving." A siren sounded as the yellow and black stretch of wall retracted to reveal an open 4-seater escape pod. "And I thought, what the hell, maybe you'd like to come?" He looked back at Hara as he slammed a small metal box ringed with putty onto the porthole beside the escape pod. A ring of lights on the top of the box was flashing, counting down. She looked at Nguyen, unable to do the mental math. Most frightening of all that had happened to her that day, Nguyen's face softened, showed real concern, compassion. "Like I said, you don't belong on a pirate ship." Then his ever-present and somehow wrong smile returned. And lo and behold, just as my superiors, after far too long, have allowed me to vaporize this disgusting stain upon the universe, I finally stumble upon someone worthy of recruitment. I'd call that karma. He held out his hand. Hara took it. Some time later, the little pod shook as the Karnas's reign of terror ended, and Nguyen laughed. This is your writer and narrator, John Miro. For more information, please visit servingworlds.com. Thanks for listening.